start the recording also on this computer. Right. So cool. We can. What I would do is, um, I would start with a small, hopefully quick 10-minute introduction to open learning, very briefly about open learning. Sorry, a little more about open learning and very briefly about Aarohi. And then we will switch over to a question and answer mode, because finally it's all about where you are and what you are looking for. And that is what I want to connect with, rather than just have lots of slides. Yeah. So that's the format. So just about 10 minutes of me talking, and then it's all Q&A. And I can see Dwiji is there, oh, Preeti is there, Pooja is there. So we have some of the people who are part of Aarohi for some time, and I'm sure they will help me in answering to your questions. So I'm looking forward to help from Pooja, Preeti, Dwiji. Oh, Ambali is also there. Ambali has recently joined our community. So good. So we have I have some help. I can be relaxed. Well, I am relaxed. uh, Okay, somebody has a problem in terms of hearing. Meena, are you able to hear us now? Earlier, I think you had an issue, but are you able to hear now? Hmm. If you need, maybe Dwiji, if you can just type your number. If she needs help, she can call you. Um, if that is okay with you. Right. Thanks, Dwiji. Yeah. So anybody who needs audio help, just call Dwiji, and he's always helpful. Okay. So let's move ahead. As I said, so before we kind of get into what is open learning, I just want to clarify that there are a lot of terms that people use. Some we use the term open learning. Some people call it unschooling, homeschooling, free schooling, uneducation, home education, and so many more names. Yeah. So I would say don't bother about the names. What is really important is, well, let's understand that first of all, education is a choice, as in how we go about learning and living is a choice that we all have. And the choice is not just a discrete choice, but it's a continuum from one end being a very structured, curriculum driven, teacher driven, where the child typically does not have much choices. That's the school system for you. That's on one extreme. And the other end is the completely no structure, no curriculum, child. Um um, you know, deciding what the child wants to do, and child choosing, and child creating his or her own structure, or rather the child and the family. So that's the other end, which is where Arohi is. And then you can be actually anywhere in between. So don't bother about the name. As you go along, you could have more structure, less structure. You may join a college or a school, hop back onto open learning, hop back into school and college, back and forth. So you could be moving all along this continuum. As you know, some families have little structure, some have more, some have even more, some have lots, some have none. So it's all permutation, and each one keeps changing. So just don't worry about what name to call it. Let's just see what is our needs, as in our child and our family needs, and then let's enjoy the life as it comes, because it's not going to be a straight line. It's going to be a roller coaster, which we all know. Yeah. So where we started our journey is when we started thinking about education, and the question obviously was, hey, what's the purpose? Somehow it appeared to us that the way everything is structured, it was more about what should I say? Job and career. Learning was not. It was either about learning or and learning for earning kind of thing. That's how at least we saw people around us, and systems around us, and we said, no, 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 we don't like this. Why should I? Life isn't about earning. Life isn't even about learning. Life is about living. So why can't our life be about living? All right. And um, and and shouldn't that be from day one, as I was mentioning to Aparna, that her daughter of 2.5 or two at 1 and 2 and 3, These children are just living. They are not thinking about learning. They're not even thinking, they're definitely not thinking about earning. Thank goodness. And which means that if the whole idea is to live, the child don't really need to prepare for something to become something. All that is a very, all that is one perspective. The other perspective is, hey, the child can just be ready for whatever comes his or her way, whatever he or she wants to do, which is where it automatically leads to that the child needs to be the leader of self, which means we need to give that leadership to the child and say, hello, you are the leader. You decide what you want to do, how you want to do, when you want to do, how much you want to do, and we all are there to support you, to guide you, to challenge you, to question you, to pull you, to push you, to give you resources, and so on. We can play many roles, but finally the role of the leader is in the child's hand. And that sounds beautiful, because at this age or at any age, I like to lead my life. We say, I lead my life, right? We use the term, we use the phrase, I lead my life. But really, when children lead their life, I doubt. They're totally governed in many different ways. Many of the children are governed by an outside curriculum or design or so on and so forth. So open learning talks about the child being the leader of himself, and this leads to some very interesting propositions. So let me share four of them with you. The first one is that if child is the leader, then we don't need to bind the child by a curriculum. The child can pretty much decide, hey, I want to learn how to do crochet, or I want to do painting, or I want to learn swimming, or I want to do astrophysics, or I want to do cooking, or I want to do, or learn a new language, whatever the child wants to learn. Um, uh, and not only that, we don't need to proactively teach the child. We don't need to collect classes per se. When the child needs something, the child may ask for the help of a teacher or a peer or a guide. The child will ask for it in different ways, right? We need to be ready to listen to the child. The child will ask in different ways. And yeah, meaning just like a little child, a 2 year, 1 year old will come and tug your clothes till he says, show me this, how this works, how do I open this, or whatever. So the children are always demanding. All right. So they're pretty clear. They don't need a teacher, but when they need you to show or tell them something, they will come and ask you. Simple. The third proposition was that if they are deciding what to learn, if they are doing the learning with the help of people around them and resources around them, then why do we need to assess them? I'm sure, at least I don't like to be assessed at any age. I don't know if you like to be assessed. And if both of us don't like to be assessed, then why assess the child? Right? Obviously, the child lives a life of self reflection, reflecting daily, weekly, monthly, how my things are going, how my learning is going, how my life is going, and also using the others as sources of feedback. Yeah, that's very natural. So let it happen that way. And the fourth interesting proposition we have is, hey, if that is child is the leader, child is assessing, learning, deciding, then it's not necessary that every child should go to school, college, and get a degree. A lot of us can live our lives the way we want to without necessarily hugging to degrees and sitting through years of college. If we need to, if we want to, most welcome. If we don't want to, why? We can go and learn from an expert like an apprentice or an internship. There are hundreds and millions of open courses on the internet, workshops all around cities, and so on. And I can just learn by myself. So all permutation combinations are available to the child. At least that's how we look at in terms of open learning. So it really opens up, and we say the world is the classroom, right? And when we think of it this way, if we feel that, oh my goodness, but won't I be lost? And or even as a family, will we kind of, do we have a concern? And if you have a concern, if you feel lost, and also on the other side, if you like interacting with more people, then we come together as a community. And that's where Aarohi comes in, where what we are doing is a bunch of families. Right now, I think it's about 40, 50 families together, supporting each other, learning with each other, doing things with each other, pushing each other. So we come together. Yeah. But before I get on to the community aspect, I want to share this a 1 minute video which just shows how different children just do different things, and that's what their life is. If somebody asks me, hey, how does a typical day look? I'll say, look at this video. In fact, the video itself is made by one of Aarohi children. They just share the wide variety of things that they all like doing, and they just do that, what they like doing. So let's watch the video.
Connecting with people
Just one moment. There's some slight thing coming on top. Wait. Yeah, this is better.
connecting with people is amazing.
I like chit-chatting with my friends while eating.
An opportunity to take all the guests around the tour, around the campus.
Currently, I'm working on improving myself so that I can play in a club next year.
I get resources and support to fulfill my passion for sketching.
I sketch many things of animals, birds.
In Aarohi, I'm a guest and I can find my space here, pursuing my interest on upcycling.
I drum to express my emotion and it makes me feel lighter. In bird watching, I learn a lot of things. What is color of bird and
I like the time when I spend with the community playing sports.
I spend time doing projects related to cinematography and video editing.
I like organizing trips in Aarohi क्योंकि your opportunity is to organize trips.
video making is awesome. It's productive and you get an awesome outcome.
I like to do electrical work. I've put many.
I connect with the planning here, gives me clarity.
I like playing with the cats. I learn crochet and teach others crochet.
எனக்கு சமைக்கிறதுக்கு இங்க ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும்.
All the resources here are new to me to explore.
Okay, so that was just a quick snapshot into what children could be doing. As I said, the fun gets multiplied many times when we do it together, when there are different children, families, adults, grandparents, all around. And what that implies is that it's not just one person who's learning and growing in isolation, but all of us are kind of nudging, supporting, kind of like a village, it says, a village to raise a child in that fashion. And that gives a very warm feeling to all of us. And also it makes the whole journey so much more beautiful, right? So what community does is, number one, it leads to a lot of connections. We connect with different people who have different strengths, different interests. So just a lot of connections, a lot of exposure, a lot of explorations because of being connected to a lot of different people. That's the beauty of can say of being with a lot of people. The second thing which community offers is collaboration, where similar interest people can get together and do stuff together, learn stuff together, create stuff together. So that's the collaboration part. Also, being in a community leads to a lot of collateral learning. What that means is I may not be doing something, but because I'm seeing others doing it, I get to learn in some way. That I'll give you a very example from my own childhood about collateral learning is, both my parents were doctors, and while I never got into medicine, but because they were doctors, I picked up a lot of medical whatever knowledge, you can say, and I use that in my life now. So in the same way, when we are exposed to people doing different things around me, the rub off happens actually. And the fourth thing that community does is it provides a lot of coaching. Now, the coaching doesn't necessarily have to happen from an adult to a child or an expert to a child. It can happen from a child to child, from a child to adult, from an adult to child, adult to adult, all permutation combinations. In fact, recently I was learning origami from an 11-year-old, and I was also learning some taxation stuff from other adult members who have done taxation um, in their life. So that's how a community kind of supports and guides each other. And most importantly, I think we just all these interactions, all these nudgings, all these togetherness just help us create our own self, how we want to live our life. Yeah. So that's how we look at it. So we are basically combining the open learning. So Aarohi is a space which is about open learning, which I talked about in the first part, and it's in a community setting with a lot of people around. So that's how we can define Aarohi. Um, which means we are open to, yeah, any age, any background, anything. We're open to anybody, actually. As you can see on the slide, it doesn't matter how, what, who the child or the adult or the family wants to learn. We're also open to obviously all kinds of learnings, whether you want to go deep, whether you want to just go on a surface, whether you want to learn many things or one things, and you want to learn and leave or leave and learn, and so on. And also, since Aarohi is a community, there is so much that happens within the community. All the fights happen, all the conflicts happen, all the masala of living together happens. Right now, this living together is happening through online meets, because we are all living at our homes because of the COVID situation. But as and when we are working towards it, maybe in a month's time, we hoping that we would be able to open, but I can't commit that. That will depend on the situation. So if you're interested in coming and being part of the community, either as a long term or even short term, somewhere by end of January would be a good time to check with us, and I'll talk to you more about that. Yeah. So yeah, the whole idea is to co-create, to co-learn, to co-live together, right? So that's open learning at Aarohi, more with the flavor of co-creating and co-learning. uh, yeah, so let me pause here. I've actually taken 20 minutes. I always think I will make it short, but I end up taking a lot of time. So let me stop, and let me invite you to number one, if you can come on video, that would be really nice. Uh, then we can see each other. So it would be really nice if more people can on their videos, so that I don't feel I'm the only one here. And now we can answer your question or just chit chat about open learning and Aarohi. Uh, Thank you, Pradeep, for switching on your camera. Good to see people. Yeah, Viji, Preeti, thank you, Ria. Yep. So now you can shoot your thoughts and questions, and Viji will answer them all. Oh yeah, Preeti will also answer the rest. So I have two people today to take care of me. Please go ahead. You can use chat to ask questions, or you can use mic, however.
If we too have questions, then Ratnesh.
Oh, then the rest of the people will answer them. See, it's a co-creation, right? Community is all about that. It isn't about one person. Yeah, just because I speak a lot doesn't mean I know a lot. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
have some thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever.
Hi, Ratnesh. Good evening. Pradeep this side.
Yes, Pradeep.
So I am a father of three boys, basically.
Wow.
And the age groups are like 12, 6, and 2.
Okay.
So we are not like for this conventional education, neither against it.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, I think COVID situation, we have ourselves witnessed this online classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say now the entire system had got exposed in front of us,
Mm-hmm.
like how it functions and what is the depth of the education that's being imparted now. It seems very shallow, and
Mm-hmm.
it was always there because I'm myself a victim of that. We can say that. So, like you are saying, so we are up for this. We are thinking, and we also gone through your websites and the way open learning is being done through a community process in Aarohi.
Mm-hmm.
I have this few thoughts with me. Like when you say that child will pick up his own subject or subject of interest on his own, like you were mentioning some astrophysics or say science or English or whatever, music. So the first point is only when he's exposed to this will he understand that which is his subject of interest.
Sure,
Now,
sure.
in case of a conventional school, when he has science, maths, English, music, sports, he may be exposed to everything forcefully. Then he may understand that, okay, my interest is in English or science or games or sports, for example. Then he can work on that, right? Here, when we are open learning, first of all, that entire exposure will not be there for the kid. So my question is how he will understand that what is his area of interest.
Okay. So,
One.
so first thing is, I would say school gives a very limited exposure. The moment you spelled out the subjects, school has what, five, six, seven, eight subjects. That's all. While in an open learner can get exposed to a million things. There are so many things that is happening around the child. So in fact, I would say it's the other way around. The school gives a very, very limited exposure, in fact a very biased exposure, saying these are the main things, others are extracurricular, and everything else is not even required in life, which is not true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how the child gets exposed, let's ask Preeti. Preeti has a 8-year-old, right, Preeti? 7, 8-year-old, right? So how does she gets exposed to a lot of things, Preeti?
She is like getting exposed by talking to people, by seeing people, by being with people, by communicating and being with all age group people, not only being with her own age group children, like only 8-year-old around. So I just was watching Peter Gray's video also, and it is like putting a stamp on what we are really doing, that if we in the school we are, when children are in the class, so they are either they are exposed to only that age group, that circle, only if 8-year-old child is there, so maximum 7.5 to 8.5-year-old children will be there in the class. Okay, so you actually do not learn anything from them, because you're all at the same level. Mostly you're all at the same level. But when you're exposed to children, people from 0 to 99 years old, so, so Ratnesh always talks about 0 to 99 years of age group. So so when you're exposed to that age group, that huge band of age group, then you're exposed to n number of things, right? So what Ratnesh very rightly said, that it is the other way around. And now after this COVID is really a blessing in disguise, wherein we all have got exposed to this kind of exposure, wherein now we really understand that actually we are restricting ourselves to very limited subjects, 7 8 subjects, and we are thinking that these are the subjects that are really important in life. But there's so many things which are so important in life and which are not even touched upon in the schools. So, and I'm also not against schools at all. So so lots of exposures, like my with me, my daughter is doing so many things, and she is doing her own things on her own. She is creating her own planning, she is creating her own stuff, she comes up with her own ideas. She is so much into reading that at 8 years of age she has done so many, she's read so much that I have not read till this age. So that is the difference, that when we are exposed to school or when we are exposed to life. So open learning is getting exposed to life actually. I hope I'm there, or
Oh,
if
I'm so
not,
glad you are
then
here. Thank you. This was a total surprise. I didn't know that you were joining. But super. Thank you. Yeah, I think very important point Preeti mentioned was that in schooling we end up being with only the same age people. Yeah. So open learning just opens up. Children interact with all ages, right from whatever 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 year olds. So that's the beauty of open learning. On a day-to-day basis, they are interacting. Yeah.
So the only one more anxiety that remains, maybe with some of other parents also, I'm
Sure.
not doing their thought, but this comes on top of mind, is whether okay, so it is understood that there will be no particular curriculum throughout this journey. but then they may require an official degree, right? Like you are passed through 10th or 12th for any minimum, even if for their interest, like they want to be a swimmer or they want to do some other job, it may require, it may ask for some kind of degree, say 10th or 12th, or I'm not talking about the graduation part. So like you,
Yeah.
I heard you saying that.
Okay. So Pradeep, can I play a little game with you?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So there's a bus standing outside. Have you bought the ticket?
No.
Why? There's a bus standing outside. Come on, buy the ticket, Pradeep.
Okay.
If you need any information, I can give you, but please buy the ticket. There's a bus standing outside. Would you like to know where the bus is going?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'll tell
I
you.
would only like to know that bus is going where I want to go.
Okay. Because if you were to ask me, Ratnesh, where is the bus going? I say, I don't know. Maybe the bus is going to the next ticket booth where you'll have to buy another ticket. And when you reach that ticket and you get into the next bus, it will take you to the another ticket. What I'm trying to get at is this business of 10th and 12th and college and all are like tickets, right? We all do 10th without even knowing where this bus is going.
Yeah, correct.
Then we get it, but the bus only takes us till 12th. Then we give 12th another ticket for another bus. It will take us to the college. Okay, the college will take us to the next college, and the next college will take us to the job. And then what? Right? But then you said it beautifully. You said that I'm only interested in this bus if it is taking me where I want to go. So the question is not whether this bus of 10th and 12th and whatever is more important, which is what everybody is running after. But what is more important is where do you want to go, Pradeep? And that's such a beautiful thought you shared, right? Isn't that more important? We don't ask that question. We don't spend time exploring where I want to go. We are more busy reaching this 10th wala ticket than 12th wala ticket, and then a ticket to buy another ticket which will buy us another ticket which will buy us another ticket. So it's like a line of tickets. Now if
And
somebody is
you'll,
very sure,
yeah.
sorry, just let me finish. If somebody is very sure that I want to go on a bus which will make me, let's say, a lawyer, then I will say, yes, there is a bus called LLB, and you have to buy the ticket and you will become a lawyer, right? See, so there is a clarity there. But when there is no clarity, why should I just run behind a bus when I don't know where it is going? Right? So the bus is not useless. The bus is very useful only if you know where you want to go. Yeah, you were sharing something, and then Preeti is also raising her hand.
No, no. So I was just supporting your thought. Like we are also going through the same feeling. So this initial anxiety, like you were saying, if you don't know where the bus is going and you still hop in, then you end up having anxiety throughout your life.
Yeah, you said it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Preeti. Yeah, sorry.
Can I also add?
Please,
yeah.
please.
So recently, very recently, we have been exposed to a family of 20 people, wherein lots of questions like about open learning and lots of questions. And so the answer to all their question was basically everybody is worried about jobs and everything. So my answer to them was, why to worry about job for my child? Maybe my child might give jobs to many other people, you know. So that's the thing, like why can't we think like that? Why only we think that my child has to get job somewhere, you know? And even that whole group is also talking that this degree thing, this hard line of degree has already started getting blurred, because now in the industry, in all the industries, people are really not worried about the degrees and everything. They are only worried about your behavior, about your attitude towards life. They are not too much worried about good how high marks you have and what level and whatever. So they are already talking about that, and still they are asking questions and questions and questions. So this is the answer, that don't worry about the job. Maybe your child will create jobs. So
I agree.
Sure.
that.
Because in last 20 years of my work experience, none of these employers ever seen my degrees. They have only seen written there on my CV, and they believe that yes, I have gone through this graduation, which I have, but they have never seen it. So I was in that bus actually.
Yeah, we all were there, Pradeep.
Yeah.
We all were on these buses from ticket to
So,
ticket.
Ratish, my last question and over to
Sure.
other. So, I have gone through the website and I kind of understood that it's a community learning thing, right? Which is a
Hmm.
very good concept. And I also understand that because of COVID situation, we are online right now. What you call as ROE X, if I'm not wrong. Right?
Yes, yes.
So, we would like to know more about it. Would like to connect with you on that. And obviously, sorry for being blunt on that, but when you are running a community like this, which I see there is a campus and there are some resources required to it, what is the kind, I know there is no fixed fee structure or something, but when somebody want to get associate and say if my kids want to or my son want to go there and want to explore for say a week or 10 days, I don't know what is the time period there allowed, etc. So what is the maybe fees or whatever you want to call it against that, so how it works? I have seen your post also where you have written that some laptops are required and like that, it's a kind of barter thing that has been barter maybe the wrong word, but
Hmm.
it's kind of things which is
Sure,
required
sure.
which
Yeah.
can be supplied.
Yeah. So
Is
if
my
you're around, let's get into the actual working details of Aarohi, I would say in a little while, if you're okay with that. Let's little stay with the open learning because that's the
sure.
more important concept. And we'll come to these little nitty-gritty details of what's the contribution, financial, otherwise, how families are involved, when can you come to campus. All these are logistical questions and we can take them on little later into the webinar. Right. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
let me also invite others. Radha is there, and many other people are there. So please share your questions. If you can come on video, then we can see you. We'll get a face connect also. So please ask. Yeah, Radha,
Yeah.
you want to ask something? Sure.
So my question is, so with open learning, so I've gone through with the conventional school for my son, um, where I was telling you, we were doing a blended kind of thing. He was going to school, but we've exposed him to so many different things outside. He was never stopped from doing things. I mean, he's a child who just loves to try out new things.
Hmm.
I mean, he'll just go for a couple of days and then he'll say, I don't want to do it. But
Hmm.
so with such a child, we've been exposing him to so many different things. Uh,
Yeah.
our experience, we feel he works well in a certain kind of structure, not a very, like a concrete structure. Say 9 to 11, you do this, 11 to 1, you do this. Not that,
Sure. Sure.
but say in the morning, let's do some kind of, he loves robotics. So we say in the mornings, you can do your robotics things. And the afternoon, you can take a break and do whatever you want. You can play your video games. Evenings are for sports or, like a broad thing. But when it comes to open learning, how does this work? When you just say the child is free to do whatever they want, if they have not been exposed to any kind of structure at all, does it kind of, they don't have a direction at all? Do you feel that?
Hmm. Hmm. Uh, the beauty is to create the structure, and who should create the structure for the child?
Um,
Is it the
well,
parents who should create the structure for the child? Is it the school which should create, or is it that the child can create the structure for?
actually, to be very frank, Ratnesh, if I let him create a structure, that will be from waking up to sleeping, he will be with his video games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that he just plays in it. He does a lot of stuff in it which even I cannot understand. And
Mm-hmm.
particular that he wants to be a gamer and he does a lot of research. So with due credit given to him, but even though that would be something that scandalizes me, from morning
Sure,
to
sure,
night sitting with
sure.
the electronics. So
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
certain, what do you say?
Right, so fair enough. So
Interest
let's not have
between.
scandals, right? Okay, so we will make it a family structure. Does that sound better? Right. So is
Yeah,
that the child still driving it?
yeah,
Okay, but the family is supporting in that.
right.
When the family support can be in many forms. Can be a tug, can be a nudge, can be a nag, can be uh, a heated argument, can
Yeah,
be a whatever, right?
yeah,
The idea is that we are at par with the child. We are not higher up that I know better than
Yeah,
you.
true.
We are co-passenger. We are together, and as co-passengers, we will both. So it is not just that the parent will monitor the child. Believe me, the child will also start monitoring the parent. Preeti, you have an anecdote for that, or many anecdotes for that? Preeti is giving us a big smile, and I'm sure Dwiji also. Dwiji's daughter is 10. Ibni, and I'm sure Ibni commands Dwiji as much as Dwiji thinks about commanding. Dwiji is shaking his head. Yeah, that's the beauty. So when we work as co-passengers or as a team, or however you want to, whatever term you want to use, right, there is a lot of give and take between the members. And slowly, if you increase the team to a community, now the whole community starts, punching here and punching there and supporting here and supporting there. And no plan is perfect, Radha. Right? It's not like the child will become some perfect child, or I am a perfect, whatever, 52-year-old man. No, I am as whatever.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you totally there. Yeah.
So I guess sometimes I think children are far more disciplined than me. Right. So yes, so that's I don't know if that's the answer to your question, but yeah, it's a co-creation. Yeah.
Right. In fact, I would just like to add on to this. So when we are at home, there are very limited opportunities for the child to, explore not just what he wants to do for the time being. He might do it for a day or two. But that is one reason why I was looking at a community like Aarohi, where, as parents, there is a certain limitation. We know only so much. We are exposed to our areas of interest, but the child could be completely different. He could have a complete different, view on anything that he does. Because when I teach him something, it's only with my view. Talks to so many different people. When there is a community of learners, I think that adds to getting his interests out. He can explore various other things. So that is one reason why we were looking at a community like Aarohi. So you said you will speak about it some more after some time. So I'm interested in going through all those details.
Yes, we'll talk about the details. Yeah. But specific questions, if you have about open learning, so the one question was this. So this whole planning and exposure, that happens. Yeah. Please carry on. You want to have more questions?
If anybody else doesn't have a question, I have one more question.
Please. Go ahead. We will take everybody's question. Don't worry.
So we were talking about this 10th and 12th, right? Yeah, it's not necessarily the path which everybody should, go ahead with. I completely agree with that. Having said that, though, for example, for a very small things like say, you have to take a driver's license. So they say, give me a sheet.
No.
The easiest way out.
No, absolutely not.
Something else.
No. So I want to clarify this.
The other day told me that.
No. I want to clarify that. Okay. In India, with so many people living in so many different places, cities, villages, no, that can't be a rule at all.
No, because
there's no such rule like that.
I can't be very sure. But my driver sometime back, he was telling me, even for this, he was getting his license renewed or something. He said, I need to.
No, nothing like that. My daughter is 22. Okay, she has not given any 10, 12, any college. She has no degrees. In fact, the only test in her life that she has given is the driving test.
Okay, wonderful.
That's the only test. And she has everything, driving test, passport, she's traveled abroad, everything. So please don't worry about anything. In India, nothing can be tied down to 10th and 12th and all that. With so many of our village folk not going the conventional education, yet they are very wise and educated in that sense. Learned, I would say. Yeah.
True.
Don't worry about that at all.
So I just maybe rephrase my question. So there is no, what do you say, bus stop at the 10th.
Yes.
Stop at the 12th. So from your experience, you've seen children, not go through that path, right? Because we are very open to for our children. We are totally open to going to that path. But from your experience, you think these children are motivated enough to, do stuff. See, you do something, okay, you feel it's not for you. Even after a couple of years, you have the confidence and the interest to move on to something else. Even that works. It's not just doing something well and I'm very good at it, I'm doing. No. Sometimes you do something and then you just feel it's not the right thing for you. Maybe. So do these children, because you're not taking the conventional path here. If you take the conventional path, you have so many other people to fall back on, ask them questions, whatever. I think this is something which is not the conventional path which we want for our children. So how do these children fare in regular, like everyday life and even jobs? Okay, you need not necessarily be an entrepreneur. You want to work somewhere. How do these people actually behave or come up every day?
Uh, Vijay, you want to answer that?
Yeah. Am I audible?
A little mic closer would help, Vijay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So first thing is check out the YouTube playlist of the webinars that we are part of today. So this is the 39. So there are some 36 other ones which are specifically about individuals' experiences or the family's experiences. Let's put it that way. So that would be very informative in answering, or you can find the answer there. So just as a brief thing, I would say that they behave as, what shall I say, the same way that someone with a MIT degree does. Or someone from the MIT might be Mylapore Institute, or it might be Massachusetts Institute. As in, what I mean to say is that it's not that they have horns or a tail or something, or wings, right? So they are as quirky teenagers, or 20-year-olds or 40-year-olds as anybody else. There is a difference, and the difference is that they know how to learn. When you have a structured learning, that quote unquote learning education that the conventional education system gives, it's like there are set paths of doing things. If you're outside those paths, you're lost. And we see this among a lot of adults of your or my age, or even Ratnesh's age, and even older people who are like lost after they are done with their quote unquote working years, or even the work day, and they don't know what else to do. So that you won't find among the open learners, because for them everything is like, I can do this and this and this. So what I'm trying to say is that open learning is about picking up the skills of learning. So changing directions, changing paths comes with a lot less stress to these individuals than the ones who have gone through these fixed ways of doing things. So that's something that I have observed, and I think that's a big plus point in today's world, because hey, I mean, it's what, mid Jan, and it's still raining in Bangalore as if it's monsoon time, right? So we don't know how things are going to go when we can't predict rain. I mean, there was some degree of unpredictability, but today it's way more than what it was earlier. And let's not even get into the political scene and the social scene and the unpredictabilities there, right? So the kind of open learning skills, or the kind of skills that we as individuals, and that's another thing I would like to underline. Ratnesh, I feel, doesn't emphasize this enough, but open learning is not just for the child. We adults have a lot of learning to do. We have to unlearn a lot of things, and we have to learn a lot of things. And that's another reason why I corrected myself to say not just individual but families learning experience.
Yes,
So a lot of
absolutely.
us go through a lot of learning. So and I'm glad you recognized in your own comments, rather, that we have our limitations, and we have our fixed perspectives, because that's what we grew up with. That's what we have lived with. So the experience of open learning is not just for the individual, and it opens up a lot more vistas and avenues than conventional education. I think I've talked enough.
I'll give one small example to illustrate this point. So, five of our children, they traveled all the way from, so these are all open learners, living in Aarohi. They traveled all the way from here to Gulmarg to learn skiing at a skiing institute, right? And it's a government institute run by a military whatever military ex lieutenant colonel. So it's a very military style, very rigid, strict rules, this that, right? So first of all, these kids traveled on their own, 5 of them in the age group of 13 to 16. Okay, 2 girls, 3 boys. They travel on their own as a group of 5 from here right till Gulmarg, from Bangalore to Gulmarg. And not only they travel, they live there for 2 weeks, learn the skiing in an environment which is very rigid, very strict. So you may feel, oh, these open learner will go berserk. How will they go through so much of strictness in all structures, and you have to say sir to everybody and all of that, lots of rules, right? But believe me, these were the ones who enjoyed it most. In fact, they were not at all cribbing about rules and all that. They were there for learning skiing. They saw this as a beautiful opportunity. They grabbed it with full hands and they maximized their learning and they thoroughly enjoyed it. In fact, they came and told that so many people were cribbing about food. They were cribbing about this. Teachers, why were they cribbing? These were wondering, why are the other children cribbing about all this? Maybe the other children expected, at least in a skiing thing, there will be some fun and some easiness, but our kids were ready for the whole thing. They went 2 weeks, they enjoyed it in the terms of learning skiing. Yeah. So I'm saying I would go by what Vijay is saying, is they are actually far more adaptable, because they have chosen to go for skiing. They have chosen to travel. They have researched it. It's their interest. And if everything is done by them, why will they go there and crib? They will just get the maximum out of what they want to, what they have come there for. Right? So you see the difference, because it is driven by them, they are actually far more flexible, far more adaptable, and so on. And I mean, there are many more examples. I just wanted to, this one came to my mind when you asked about motivation, right? Because
And
it's their
Ratnesh,
interest. Yeah.
one more thing, this also answers Pradeep's question about number of subjects. Skiing is never a subject in our curriculum.
Yes.
So there's so many things beyond those 7-8 subjects. So many things. We are really not exposed to anything.
Yeah,
so we should feel bad about not getting exposure to so many things. Our children are now lucky that they'll get all these exposures of life.
True. And at least before COVID, we used to travel a lot, almost one place every week, literally, or every other week. And then outstation also, we used to travel to lots of places. Wherever any child says, let's go there, we are all ready to travel. Because travel is such an amazing way to get exposed, to learn so many different things. Yeah. Okay, so let's move ahead. More questions, please. Some more people, if you want to ask. Rather, if you have any other questions, let's still stick to open learning. If you have the basic, for some of you, this is the beginning of knowing what is open learning. So you may have some very basic questions. That's okay. Don't worry. Ask whatever questions you have. Okay, so maybe we need to, since the questions are not immediately coming, we can dive into more details about Aarohi per se. So I'm trying to remember Pradeep's questions. So, okay, let me give a just overview. So one is the campus is not yet open. It is kind of getting prepared to open, hopefully, with currently some of the existing children have started coming. 3 of them came last week and so on. Yeah, Meena is asking the same question about residential students. So Meena, it's a residential place. Everybody who comes here, children, adults, parents, grandparents, everybody resides here, and we live together in one building. We eat together, we sleep together, we clean toilets together, we take out frogs and lizards from toilets. If Preeti was asking, what if there is a lizard in the toilet? Well, Preeti, your question is answered. We do it together, and so on, right? So we all live together. But right now, immediately the campus is not open. We are hoping it will be open for people who are considering joining the campus by, let's say, February tentatively, beginning of February. So one is, I was saying, connect with us by end of the month. And a simpler way could be that you just join. We have made a temporary WhatsApp group of people who want to be part of the campus or at least visit a campus and stay with us for a week. We typically invite families to come as a family, stay for a week to experience it. So just join that WhatsApp group. I'll just post the link of that group in a minute. And then that group will keep you updated as to when can you visit at least. So typically it's a two-step process. You visit and stay for a week, you experience the life here for a week with the family, and after that, as Saundarya is asking, it depends whether the parent wants to stay with the child or only child wants to stay or many people want to stay at the campus. That's all very open. It really depends on how you experience it and how you want to take it forward.
Can I ask something?
Sure, please, Meena.
Okay, from what I've been given to understand is that in your school you don't have a board kind of thing like CBSC or ICSC or no exams, nothing.
No, it's not a school, so these things don't exist. Only
Okay.
if it was a school, these things would have existed. We are not a school at all, right? We are a learning community. If a child wants to give 10th, then typically, or 10th or 12th, then typically the child will give it through open learning, open schooling, which is the NIOS, or through IGCSE, or even possible through state boards and CBSE board by getting admission at the 10th standard level.
Okay, so they are not taught the usual school subjects.
Oh, there is no teaching at all. There is only learning, and the child decides what the child wants to learn. If the child says, "I want to learn skiing," that's what the child learns. If the child wants to learn embroidery, that's what the child does. The child wants to do boxing, that's what the child learns. If the child wants to learn physics, that's what the child learns. Now, for
Okay.
all of these, the child may need help, guidance, support, even teaching. The child may say, "I need somebody to teach me." Fair enough. We will say, "We'll find somebody who can teach you." But the child should say, "I want somebody to teach me." Did I answer your question, Meena?
Yes, you did. So, as one of the other ladies was asking, so our country is very, degree centric for anything. Yeah, so the child will not have a certificate or anything to prove that I have passed my 10th or my 12th, nothing like that.
It's I would say, I think somebody else also mentioned that this thing is changing and it's changed quite a lot. It's no more degree centric, right? I wouldn't say. Yes, some jobs are degree centric, especially government jobs have to have a certain minimum qualifications. I'm not denying that. Some companies may also be, but a lot of companies today are not degree centric. They are more work centric. They want to see if you can do the work that we want, if you are already skilled in it, then why should I bother? I can give you example of a child. His name is Sahil. He is about now he's 20. So he was part of Aarohi for 3 years almost. And he liked photography as one of the things, and he was into cars, like mad about cars. So how some boys are mad about cars. He was like mad about cars. Right? He would literally scold me the way I would keep my car. So now this child took his interest forward. First, he approached one organization which used to organize rallies of cars. These cross-country rally, and that organization saw this passion in this boy. They said, "Yes, come in." That was when he was, I think, 17. Or yeah, 17 and a half. He joined that organization. For 1.5 years, he worked with them, he traveled with them, he organized events with them. Nobody asked for his degree. Okay. And then and meanwhile, while he was traveling, he explored his photography interest even more. He was already quite into photography. So much so now he applied to an ad agency, and the ad agency said, "Yes, welcome." So he has now joined an ad agency, right? And he does not have any degree. He's at 19 now. And if you're talking about jobs, he's already done one job, moved on to his second job. Both totally out of his passions. So this is just one
Right.
example. I can give you many more.
Yeah. As you say, there is no, is there a structure to the day? Like you get up at a certain time, have your breakfast this time, you have study time. I mean, is it there in Aarohi? Because
Yeah,
my
yeah.
son, My son, he has some special needs. He's like, he has ADHD, so he needs a lot of bit of more structure. So I don't know. It's also he's been newly diagnosed, so even that's why I'm also exploring. I myself
Sure.
don't know how really I can deal with it. Yeah. So
So, Meena, at least personally, I think, first of all, I think I am also ADHD. Perfectly. If I went through a test, they will diagnose me with many problems. One of them definitely is ADHD, right? What I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to make a mockery of it. I'm trying to say that this is just a matter of testing. Right, we test everybody out here. I can see at least 5 videos. I can sure that if we test you, we'll find some fault with you, right? I don't think ADHD or anything like is a problem at all. It's not at all a problem. It's just each one of us is very different. Some of us move a lot, and we are branded by a school system which expects us to sit all the time. Why should we sit all the time? So I don't think ADHD is an issue at all. In fact, it's a label which I don't think should be put on anybody. I would say each child will create his own structure in his own way. There is no one way that we imagine, right? We don't think that, oh, the child will come and follow some schedule. So when the child comes here, we let the child create his schedule, when he wants to get up, when he wants to do what, when he wants to do that. Yes, the child will know that breakfast is available from this time to this time and lunch is available from this time to this time. If a child does not get up in the breakfast time, the child is bound to miss the breakfast. Not that it's a military style that after that he wouldn't get anything to eat. That's not the case. He can still eat. The point is, the child will slowly understand how, let's say in this case, Aarohi works, and then will create his own schedule and adapt to the whole things, and then start exploring a lot of different things. So first of all, to summarize, let's remove this label. I don't think there is anything called as ADHD. I only know of one thing, Meena. Each one of us is very unique, very different. We don't need to see others to be same as us. Yeah, the moment we accept and respect each one's individuality, there is absolutely no label required except for the name given to us. So I can call you Meena, and Meena, you can call me Ratnesh, and that's the end of the story. No need to call each other ADHD, DDHD, LD, SD, LV. Oh, enough. One ABCD has been given to us in the form of name. Let's just hold on to that. Right? No other ABCD is required.
yeah, like the other lady said, if my son had his way, he also would be like from morning till he goes to bed again, he'll be in bed with his phone.
We'll see that. I think that is definitely. First of all, I don't see anything issue with that. I know. Yeah. Okay. Dviji wants to say something. Let's take Dviji's thought first.
So, very, very important thing. And one of our friends in the community, Rajiv, he has a very nice thing to say. Look, when we were growing up, we as in, I'm relating all of us in the same generation, we might be off a little bit, but when we were growing up, we didn't grow up in the same environment that our parents grew up in. So they had anxieties about us going out and playing with God knows who, right? Or going to the market and or going to the neighborhood piece shop and hanging out there when we were in college, right? Or when we were kids playing on the streets, right? That was like, when I grew up, playing on the streets was like the thing you should not do. Go to the playground or you stay at home. But we would go out and play on the streets. So it's like every generation has its anxiety points, and online is that kind of a thing now. It's as risky as playing on the streets, or as much fun, depending on whether you are the one who's playing or the one who is asking not to play over there. So Rajiv had this very nice point to say that, look, this is what they have to live with. Online, especially after COVID, I think all of us recognize that online, knowing how to deal or behave and get what you want from online space is as important as doing that in the real world too. So I feel it's about how we approach this. And so Ratnesh mentioned about our 10-year-old daughter. So like any other 10-year-old with a device that is accessible for her, the default choice is to be with the device. Her friends came over now. I mean, she came back yesterday morning, afternoon. and her friends were out, she couldn't play. So now her friends came over and they said, let's go cycling. I didn't have to tell her what to do. She dropped her device and ran away. And they took the cycle and they have gone out to explore the market area. 8 of them on a cycle. On a weekend, they wanted to go to the market. I said, okay, go, just be careful, be patient, be careful. So what I'm trying to say here is that when there are opportunities, kids will take those opportunities. We don't have to create them. As much as we need to ready ourselves to, create the surroundings, create the atmosphere, create the, you don't have to present it to them. That's what I'm trying to say. So that anxiety is something that we all deal with, and we have to deal with that. And they will deal with it much better than we do.
Yes, yes. So yeah, absolutely. I think we worry too much about it because the moment children have more options, they also are very ready to explore a lot of other things. As Vijay said, going on cycling to the market. So I think we are just worrying too much because right now what they have is something which is not interesting to them, the so-called school studies, and which is why their default choice is, let's say, a gadget. But when they are together, right, for 1 hour, for example, every afternoon, everybody here wants to play hide and seek, including our akkas and annas and with the children and everybody. Now, I don't play that because they always do dabba to me and I always lose. So I say, no, I give up. I can't win from you guys. So they're too quick. So what I'm trying to say is that it's only a matter of choices, right? And yeah, digital world is part of their world right now. So let's not, we can't kind of turn our head away from it. Okay, so I don't know, Meena, if that answered your question, but I'm saying that's the whole point. The whole point of open learning is to let them also, when they start doing this, when you say, let's say the child is saying, I will do from morning to evening only device, then that also dawns onto the child that, am I just doing this? Slowly, the child only realizes. And it's beautiful when they realize what else they want to do in life other than just being doing one thing. So it happens gradually. It may not happen the first day, but it will happen. In their own journey. They understand what else they want to do, right? As they start seeing themselves, as they start seeing others, as they start interacting with others, they get to understand, um, about themselves and the world that they are living in.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I might have some questions crop up later on. So
Sure,
yeah.
sure, sure. Yeah, Pradeep, did I have we answered all your logistical questions? You also asked about, I think, contribution. Okay, we call it contribution. We don't call it fees, uh, simply because very straightforward. For us, the family or the child joining library, sorry, what am I saying? The child joining, not the child, the family joining campus or the Aarohi X is nothing related to money. So any family or any child can join Aarohi. No questions asked about money or anything. Uh, Knowing that the community needs a certain expenses, and for those expenses we need some money, and all of us together contribute some amounts based on each one's capability and status at that moment, okay, which keeps changing. Our economic status may keep changing, so people keep contributing. So different families contribute different amounts. There's no one fixed amount, though there is an indicated amount which is calculated by the finance team, which is also a group of parents who look at the finance and see, okay, as a community we need this much. Now guys, let's see how much who can pitch in to be able to meet our expenses. Yeah, so that's how the whole finance part works. It works on contribution. All the finances, all the expenses are known to everybody. You can see it, it's all available. So you get you can see, do I want to make a contribution, how much I can make. So we say balance it out between what is your financial status as well as what is ROE's financial need, and see where you can meet and what you can share. There have been instances when there are families who just couldn't even contribute 1 rupee, and they have been part of ROE. And there have been the other extreme families who have always contributed lots to ensure that the community is floating and running and being a lovely space for all of us to be together. I hope I've answered that part. So it's not about a particular figure, but it's about the on one side, I need to take care of the community, but it's got nothing to do with the child or the family being part of the community. That's totally open.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, Soundarya, do you have a question? I see your mic on. Rather, you had some logistical questions, so we can answer those also, specific to Aarohi. Yeah.
Yeah, my question was more like this seems to be a very, what do you say, very, very nice scenario for the children as well as the parents. Is it something which can be done, say, for some time they stay in Aarohi and they kind of do what they feel like? It's an open learning kind of an environment. And then
Yeah.
if the child really wants to do something which probably Aarohi cannot do that for the child at present. Say, for example, my son is very seriously into robotics.
Yeah.
Group of people, he actually goes to an academy here. He needs a group of people who actually work with him. They found it very hard to do it online somehow, even though we feel robotics can be done online, but that whole teamwork doesn't exist.
Sure.
It's not happened at all for the last 9 months, and he's really missing them terribly. So is it something that he can do for some time here? We are based out of Chennai, and then go back to Aarohi, say 2 months or 3 months, and then come back for 3-4 months, whatever that is. Is it something that is workable there?
Yes. In fact, the first word in the whole definition of ROE, which is open learning community, is the word open, right? So it is open to all possible permutation combinations, right from who comes and stays here, only child, only parent, parent and child, parent and one child, parent and child, and whatever, grandparent, whatever, all permutation come. Similarly, when you come for 1 week, alternate weeks, 1 month, not 1 month, 2 months, not 2 months, come for 6 months, not 6 months, however you want. You come for a day, you come for a week, month, year, lifetime, I don't know, right? Everything is open, right?
How do you manage the logistics when there are so many permutations and combinations?
Because I don't need to manage logistics. The community has to manage itself. It's a self-managing whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't have to manage logistics.
Yeah, it really sounds amazing. I mean,
Yes,
to the
it's
level of it
completely
being
open.
untrue.
Let me give you I
mean,
know it will take little time, but let me give you an example. Right? There was this
Ratnesh,
child.
before you say anything, let me tell Radha one thing. It is really amazing.
Okay, thanks, Preeti. Let me tell the story of Shreyas. So Shreyas joined us when he was about 9 or so. By 11, he was very interested in chess. Okay, so obviously none of us were at that level, which level he grew up by the time he was 11. But then Aarohi is not about us. Aarohi is about the whole world at our disposal. I tell the children, you are at the center of the universe, man. The whole universe is there for you. Come on, go grab whomever you can grab, right? So this child started looking for a coach for chess. So he got a coach. So he would do weekend coaching with him, and weekdays he will be here. This way 1 year passed. By that 1 year, he had even moved higher, and he needed to participate in tournaments. So he started coming alternate weeks, right? Then 1 year passed, and he moved even higher. Then even coming alternate weeks didn't fit in. So he would he would not come for 2-3 months when these tournaments are on high. He will go into tournaments and all that. Then 1 or 2 months tournaments are on low. Then he will come here. Okay, and then when it finally a stage reached when he just didn't see any value of coming to ROE, because he was now fully onto chess, and he wanted to give his whole year to the chess, right? So ROE is just an open space. You come and go when you think there is some value that you can get and you can give. Yeah. So Shreyas still comes here once in a while, right? Sometimes he comes just for fun, meeting his friends, or sometimes we call him that, hey, you come and coach some other children in chess. So he's still connected. His parents are still connected, but obviously he has moved ahead in his journey of life.
I think even if my son is not so interested, I would be interested in being part of Aarohi more than
Yes, so
anything.
it's not about children. That's why we say 0 to 99, right? It's not about children, it's about families. And your child may not see value in coming to campus, let's say too frequently or whatever, because he may be he's too much into robotics. The first person to tell him that get lost from the campus will be us. We will all throw him out. We will say, no, you
Okay.
go because you are into robotics. You have a group. Why don't you sit with them and create wonders? Right, so it's not about people being in the campus or spending time in the community. It's about each family and each child and each individual's journey and how we can all support that.
Okay.
All right, there is no
Wonderful.
need for everybody to be in one place or in one time, right?
Okay.
More importantly, it is for each one to discover what we want to do and how we can give and get both.
Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful.
So it's
Sounds
all very, very open. Absolutely.
okay. All right.
Okay. Oh, there are a few more people still hanging around. It's almost 6:16. Okay. Any questions, Anupama? More questions, Meena, Pradeep, Saundarya. Yeah, Suratha is anyway there. So yeah, any more questions? We can take those. And sorry, somebody was.
Sorry,
Yeah, Meena, go ahead.
yes. So the idea sounds very nice, but then, it is very unconventional to say the least. So, what about basic knowledge and, basic subjects? How
Like, give me
will
an
they
example.
acquire it?
Give me an example.
Like mathematics, like,
No, no, don't give me subject name. Tell me the knowledge what you need. What you need in mathematics.
okay, the normal usual to get by in life,
Yes, so that
like
they will get by
addition,
buying.
subtraction.
Yes, so that they
Okay.
will get by buying, isn't it? If I need to learn addition, subtraction to buy, then shouldn't I learn it by buying? Shouldn't I go to market every day and buy stuff? And over the years, I will learn. Just like the corner grocery store guy who has never gone to school, but he knows his accounts because he sells from that shop.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, of
So
course.
I would
Yes.
say, yes, if you're talking about the regular addition, subtraction, multiplication, that I can learn because I use it in my life, not because I need to learn it as a subject. And if you're talking about higher mathematics like algebra, trigonometry, then I will ask you, when have you used it? And if you haven't used it, why learn it? Why not learn it whenever you want to use it? Suppose at this age you want to use trigonometry. I'm sure in 1 week, 2 weeks, you will learn whatever is required to learn about trigonometry, or 1 month or 2 months, whatever time. Now, any one of us can learn about trigonometry. Anyone can learn about lizards, right, Preeti? And anybody can learn about anything. There is no big deal. Right? Soon Preeti is about to come to campus, and I'm sure Preeti will learn a lot about lizards here.
Ratnesh, I'm so scared of lizards that I don't even touch them on paper. Like if it is drawn on paper, I'll not touch that area.
Sure, sure. We'll create a phone designed as a lizard for you. No, just pulling you, just pulling you.
I
Yeah.
know, I know.
Your choice. You don't like lizards, stay away from it. Absolutely. We'll tell all the lizards also here. We have a WhatsApp
Yeah.
group of them. We'll let them know.
Please tell them.
So I hope, Meena, I've kind of answered the question. So what we consider as basics, we have to question that. We have to understand that. We have to say what really is basic in life. For example, emotions is something so basic in our life. We meet them every day, right from the day we were born till we die, right? In jobs, at home, with our spouses, with everybody, with neighbors. Yet, actually speaking, in the whole school and college, nobody teaches us about emotions. That's not even a subject. How lopsided the curriculum is. You see, something which we need on a daily basis is not taught. Algebra, trigonometry, velocity, gravitational acceleration, and all that is taught, which I don't know. I keep falling on the ground, but I haven't learned about gravity. So, I hope you're getting me. The point is, let the child drive through his need. Let the life drive us in terms of what we need to learn. We have put learning before living. let's reverse that. Let's put living, and then the learning will automatically flow based on what we are living for today, not 10 years later, 20 years later, but whatever I am living for today, I would want to learn it. Okay, my son, he is now 16, but till 8 years he didn't know how to read. Whenever he wants to read, he will bring us a book and he will ask us to read, and we will read to him. We had no problem that he doesn't know how to read. People read at 4, 5, 6, 7, but we had absolutely no issue. But at 8 years, he wanted to make some double barrel boat or something like that, some catamaran kind of a thing, right? And then he was seeing some designs on the internet, and then he realized that he has to read a lot of text to understand that design. And then he came to us. He says, "I want to learn how to read." I said, "Why?" He said, "Oh no, I need to read this web page. How do I understand what is written there?" Right there, you go. And the day he decided, then also we didn't do anything. The next day he figured out how to read, because all this while he was already seeing words and all that. And now he's 16, and the last from 8 to 16 he has read so many books. It's the other way around. We have to take away the book from him and saying, "Don't read now, eat your food," kind of thing. I'm sure Preeti has faced the similar situation with her daughter. So we think that there is an age to learn. That's not true. You can learn anything at any age. Yeah, I have a friend who's at 35 entered a medical college. So why not? You can become a doctor at any age. Right.
And today I am wanting to learn climbing
Awesome. Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Kaushik.
Absolutely.
And one very important example I want to share here, Ratnesh, from our Aarohi community only. There is one child called Vimal. Okay, he was into his own local language. His language is either Kannada or Tamil. I don't know. Yeah, Tamil. Yeah. So he could only converse in Tamil in the month of July. Okay, and he was so not well, like he could not actually understand English. He could
Nor
not
speak
do
English.
not speak English, not understand English, anything. And when the sessions were happening, online sessions were happening, he would always, ask in between, okay, in his language, in Tamil language, what is happening. Always. But he like within 1 month time, I can vouch for it. Within 1 month of time, this boy, he learned in the month of August. I can say that he was ready with his English. He can converse very well, he can understand English, he can talk in English, only because he wanted to attend all the sessions very well. He did not want to miss even a bit of it. That is the reason he now knows English so well. So it is what Ratnesh is saying, is that the need brings in the that thing, that hunger for learning. So automatically it happens. So we don't need to have any fixed curriculum for so I don't know, I'm like totally sold with
Lovely
open
example, lovely example. Yeah. And
yeah, I'm
now
very,
if you
very,
meet Vimal, and that too online, huh? He didn't even, there was no
yeah,
physical.
yeah,
He would just be part of all the groups and clubs and all that.
yeah,
And now he is so fluent
yeah.
and
I'm
amazing
so fond
and
of him
independent.
just because of
Yes.
his dedication. The
Yeah.
kind of dedication this boy has shown, in 1 month's time, I've seen such a huge change in him. So that's
Absolutely.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's probably what, 12 years or something? Yeah, around that age. Yeah.
Even lesser. I think he's 11 or
Yeah.
something.
So at that age, he's suddenly picking up English like nobody's business. Yeah. And that to what? In a day, an hour or 2 hours of interaction, not even more, right? A
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
of
yeah.
hours of
Not that
interaction, and then
the whole like 7-8 hours of schooling is happening for him. It's only 2 clubs or 3 clubs maximum in a day, on a higher side, or sometimes even 1 club, which is 1 hour or 2 hour on a higher side.
yeah.
In that much time, he was so dedicated that he picked up everything very quickly.
So since Preeti is mentioning about clubs, let me just quickly share. So what we do is different children and adults. So I would like to call it people. Different people of different interests, they get together and do different things. Right. So age is not an aspect. It's not that my child has to go into this club, and the club is totally driven by whoever is part of the club. For example, I'm part of a theater club, And I'm not there as a teacher or a facilitator or a guide. I'm just there as one of the actors. There are other children and other adults in that theater club, and we do theater online. Who cares whether we can't get together? We do it on Zoom, and we thoroughly enjoy 1 hour every week of theater. And now we are working towards a show, preparing towards a show slowly, at our own pace. So that's just one example, and like that, there's a dance club, there is a writers club, there is I don't. There's so many clubs I keep forgetting. Programmers club, Sanskrit club. So you see, it really depends on each child's and adult's interest which club they want to join. Some join, leave. Some join and continue, and so on. So it's again very open, very informal. Each one driving their own learning, their own participation, their own engagement with the community. Yeah. So yeah, you can in terms of logistics, you can ask more questions. Yes, Radha.
Ratnesh, I have to drop off because I have to
Sure,
join
sure.
another. But as I go, I think I might have some more questions. I will call you, or I might join the next webinar. Please let me know.
Yeah, so what I want to, we can also conclude now, it's nearing 6:30. So what I want to conclude it by saying that, yes, if you are interested in being part of Arohi, if you are only interested in being part of the campus and not the online, while that is not really recommended, it's recommended that you part of the online first so that you get familiar with different people, and then you can, whenever the campus open, be part of it. Anyway, I've posted the WhatsApp group link in the chat. You can join that group if you want to visit campus and stay for a week and explore. But if you want to kind of get into the ROE X first and then later on see the campus, then simply connect back with me, and we'll have a one-to-one call with your whole family. So that we call as the family call, right? Where we would like to meet you and your children and your spouse, and even if there are grandparents at home, and just understand, and we can share in more detail how ROE works. For that, you can simply call me or email me. I hope you have my email address. Even then, I'm just typing it. If you prefer WhatsApp, then I'm just typing Aditi's WhatsApp number. You can WhatsApp her and she will coordinate for a meeting. So the meeting would be done by any one of us, me, Aditi, or Leela. Three of us are there. Any one of us would do a video call with you and explain to you in detail. And then you can take the next step, however you want to take it. Yeah.
Ratnesh, there is a question from Saundarya about age group.
Sorry, I missed that somewhere. Where is the question? Okay, about young, yeah, so there is no age group as such. I think Preeti mentioned 0 to 99. So even at campus, a younger child can be at the campus. Obviously, the younger child will necessitate one of the parents minimum to be there at the campus. So there have been cases of a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old with a parent, a 5 or a 6-year-old with a parent at the campus. And as they grow older, then they may not need parents, but parents are still welcome. So as such, the age is a non-issue, whether at campus or in ROEX. It's because it's not about the child joining, it's about the family joining. Yeah. So there are different families. There are families which come alternate months. There are families which come alternate weeks when the campus is working, I'm saying. But in ROEX, it just doesn't matter. Anyway, you're doing it from your home. So you're most welcome. So I hope that is... yeah, so there's no lower age limits on there. Yeah. Right. So I think it's a good time to pause. It's almost 6:30. With again the reassurance that please connect with us if you have any questions, any support. Even if you don't want to be part of Aarohi community, that's not important. Even if you just want to pursue open learning or unschooling at your home, and if you need support or guidance, we are always there. Just don't hesitate, pick up your phone and connect with us. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Preeti. Wonderful having you. Super surprise.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for all the questions and patiently listening to us. Thank you.
So Ratnesh, I try and join every webinar, but recently because of shift